Hello everyone, this is Vesper the Evening Star, and I will be your host today on Vespera's Fanfiction Time. And without further ado, let's get started. Today's fanfic is called Hit and Run by Kaisharchvibes. Summary. It was only meant to be a snack run. So what happens when it becomes a hit and run? I'm sorry. That was terrible. Izuku goes for a snack run, but he doesn't come out of it unscathed. This was meant to be crack, but as it turns out, I can only write hurt comfort. This was inspired by a TikTok by @jumpy_shouyo. Go check him out. Midoriya Izuku hadn't seen it coming, which surprisingly was not entirely his fault. He had been completely minding his own business, doing his utmost to not get into any trouble like the last time he went out alone. With the amount of chastising he got last time from Hound Dog, Mr. Ozawa, and All Might, he didn't want a repeat of the gentle criminal situation. All he wanted to do was get back to the dorms with the snacks he had just picked up from the convenience store in a timely manner. Everyone in Class 1A would be having a movie night with B class later, and Izuku had been the one to volunteer to go out and get what everyone wanted. The streets were pretty empty, and the air was quiet. As Izuku approached the crossroad walk, he hit the button, hoping to speed up his return. It took a minute, but the oncoming traffic finally had a red light and the crosswalk light switches telling Izuku he could cross the road. Maybe if he had been paying more attention instead of listening to Getaway Car by Taylor Swift, that car wouldn't have hit him. So as he lays on the pavement, watching the car speed off, the only thing that is going through his mind is the voice of Taylor Swift. It was the great escape, the prison break. How ironic. Izuku is probably in a bit of shock, seeing as nothing, yet everything hurt, his entire being buzzed with a dull sort of pain. He stretches out his arms and sees that they are cut up a bit, but nothing too serious. He flexes his hands a few times before letting his arms drop heavily to the ground again. Since the person who had hit him decided not to stick around, Izuku isn't sure what to do. He isn't in too much pain, so he doesn't want to call emergency services. That would be a bit over the top. Plus, there are people out there with much more serious injuries than him that need attention. Izuku would honestly just be wasting their time. It would also involve bringing other people into the situation, which was also unnecessary. Izuku knows for a fact that Yue and his mother would want to press charges. There is no way Izuku would let that happen. What if the person was just having a bad day? Izuku couldn't go and ruin it even more by getting them in trouble, so he does what any sensible person would do. He stands himself back up and begins his walk home. As he applies pressure to his legs, they scream at him to sit back down. The pain was way worse now, pulsating through his bones. If he has to guess, he would say his legs might be bruised, fractured at worst. They don't feel like they usually do when he uses one for all at 100%, but the pain is definitely there. His ribs also hurt quite a bit, but they are probably only bruised. Which is good! That means he can get home just fine. He just needs to sleep this all off later tonight. Izuku stops the music on his phone and picks up the bag of snacks that got sent flying a few meters away. He inspects the contents, making sure nothing is too damaged. And miraculously, everything looks fine. With one last look over his body, Izuku begins his walk home. The walk up the hill to get to UA is probably the worst part. His body does not enjoy the incline, nor the distance. Out of breath, Izuku leans against a tree, trying to regain some stamina to make it up the rest of the hill. His ribs and legs burn, but it isn't too bad. So he ends his break and keeps marching on. After only taking a few more breaks, Izuku is finally at the entrance of the 1A dorms. He quickly pulls himself together, straightening his back and closing his eyes. If he wants to get through this without bothering anyone, he will have to put on the performance of a lifetime. This means no limping or wincing, and only giving non-discriminant answers to any questions. Izuku already has a whole plan for how everything will work out. Hopefully. First, he will say hello to anyone in the common area. It'll be suspicious if he doesn't. Next, he'll drop off the bag of snacks in the kitchen, and last but not least, he will make a break for his room. There, he can tend to the cuts on his arm and anywhere else. It is a foolproof way to not ruin movie night. If his classmates knew a car hit him on his way back, there's no way they would have a relaxing night. Everyone will be worried. Hachan will be mad, not that that would be unusual, and his teachers will more likely be disappointed. It will become a big situation and create more problems for everyone. So really, it is in everyone's best interest to keep it hidden. The last thing Izuku wants is to cause more problems. Once Izuku enters the dorms, he uses his feet to take his shoes off. That way there's no need to bend down. "I'm back," Izuku calls out as he makes his way to the kitchen. "Welcome back, Midoriya. Did you find everything?" Ida greets, also walking into the kitchen. Izuku keeps his back turned, hoping Ida won't notice his messed up arms. "Yep, it's all in here," he says as he plops the bag on the counter. "That's wonder." Ida cuts himself off. "Midoriya, what happened to your arms?" He says way louder than Izuku would have liked. Izuku turns around and laughs, but even to his own ears, it sounds nervous. Nothing. It's just from training earlier. A few people from the common room are now starting to come over, and Izuku debates if he should just make a run for his room. "I think I would have noticed if that was there earlier," Shinzo draws as he also walks into the kitchen next to Kaminari. "Guys, really, I'm fine." Before Izuku can try and convince him anymore, Shinzo has brainwashed him. "I'm calling Mr. Aizawa," Izuku hears Shinzo say through the fog of his senses. "Right, I'll bring him to the couch," Ida replies, and just like that, he's being carried bridal style to the couch. Welp, so much for his plan. The next thing Izuku knows, he's staring up at both All Might and Mr. Aizawa. They both looked worried, All Might more so than his homeroom teacher. "Do you want to tell us what happened?" The rest of the common room is empty. They must have been sent to their rooms or something. "Young Midoriya." The boy's head shoots up at the sound of his name being called. "Yes?" "What happened while you were out?" Mr. Aizawa asks, leaning down with the first aid kit. His teacher gently grabs his face and begins to disinfect it. There's probably a cut there that Izuku hadn't noticed. That's probably why Shinzo brainwashed him. "I fell?" Mr. Aizawa raises a singular eyebrow. "Wanna try that again?" "It's really not that big of a deal," Izuku says, avoiding eye contact. "That's not what I said," Mr. Aizawa says sternly. "I'm fine." Izuku decides doubling down is probably his best option. "We'll be the judge of that when you tell us what happened." And it looks like Mr. Aizawa has the same idea. Izuku hates that it got to this point. He is fine. They don't need to keep worrying about him. Izuku's strong, stronger than he's ever been before. He can take care of himself. There's no reason that he needs to keep burdening people like this. "Young Midoriya," All Might begins, kneeling next to Mr. Aizawa. "We care about you. We aren't trying to get you in trouble. All we want to do is make sure you're okay, and we can't do that without your help. So could you please tell us what happened?" Both of his teachers stare into his eyes, and Izuku can feel his resolve cracking. He could feel the tears building in his throat. "I'm okay. You don't have to worry about me." His words are strangled and weak. At this point, it was a losing game. "Kid, we're your teachers. It's our job to worry about you." "I don't think there's anything you could do to stop us from worrying," Mr. Aizawa says, placing his hand on Izuku's head, and just like that, the dam breaks. Izuku presses his hands into his eyes to try and stop his tears.
I was hit. Someone hit you?
All Might asks, clearly confused. Izuku nods, not wanting to say it out loud.
Then what happened to your arms? Mr. Aizawa asks.
Izuku swallows hard, clenching his eyes shut.
They hit me with their car.
His teachers go silent. Izuku's anxiety skyrockets, and he begins rambling.
I didn't even know how it happened. I was crossing the street, and the next thing I know, I was on the ground. I mean, I should have been paying attention, but it wasn't like I was jaywalking. I was at the crosswalk and everything. I made a right turn, and then Taylor Swift was playing, and... Kid, calm down. It's okay. You gotta breathe, Mr. Aizawa says,
taking Izuku's hands into his own.
I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. Young Midoriya, there's nothing you have to apologize for. The only person who needs to be apologizing is the person that hit you,
All Might says, placing a hand on Izuku's knees. Izuku looks away.
But I'm training to be a hero. What kind of hero can't react to something like that? That was my fault. Would you blame me for getting hit by a car? Or one of your friends?
Of course not.
Then the same goes for you,
Aizawa says vehemently, leaving no room for argument. His teacher then turns to All Might.
Recovery girl isn't here for the weekend. We'll have to take him to the hospital.
What? No, that's not necessary.
I'll call an ambulance. It shouldn't take that long,
All Might replies, ignoring Izuku's complaints. The man stands up and walks out of the room with his phone already to his ear. An ambulance?
Yes, you need medical attention. But no buts. This is non-negotiable.
But I ruined movie night, Izuku whines, feeling the tears come back. He knows he probably sounds like a child, but this was part of the reason he didn't want anyone finding out.
I think your classmates are more concerned about you than a movie night, Mr. Aizawa says,
and Izuku hates that his teacher is probably right.
And the next time something like this happens, please don't try to hide it. We need to help you if it's necessary. Understand?
Izuku doesn't even try to hide his pout.
Yes, sir. Right. Mr. Aizawa nods his head, and then there's a beat of silence. The person that hit me won't get in trouble, right? Mr. Aizawa sighs. I'm not even going to answer that question. The man stands up, and at the same time All Might walks back into the room. They're on their way, he says, putting his phone into his pocket. ETA is about 10 minutes. And just like that, 10 minutes later, Izuku is being loaded onto a stretcher and hauled to the hospital with Mr. Aizawa. According to the doctors, it's a good thing Izuku had been admitted. He not only has a concussion, but also 2 broken ribs and a broken leg. Luckily, the break in his leg isn't too awful, but still broken nonetheless. The healer on duty was able to begin speeding up the healing process, but they still wanted to keep him overnight. So Izuku sits in his hospital bed, alone and bored out of his mind. There wasn't much to do, and nothing to watch on the TV. His room was dark, and the only light he had was coming from the moon. Since Izuku's mom has the night shift at the hospital he's at, she couldn't stay with him. Because of that, Mr. Aizawa is staying with him, but had left a while ago and hasn't come back. Izuku wonders where his teacher went off to. It isn't long until his curiosity is sated. There's a knock at the door, and then Mr. Aizawa quickly opens, making his way in, along with all of Class 1A. Izuku is stunned into silence. Once everyone is in the room, Mr. Aizawa closes the door, and the room explodes into whispered chaos. Everyone is talking at once, and there's no way for Izuku to make sense of any of it. Not to mention, Izuku is about 80% sure he was hallucinating. It's probably the concussion. Guys! Izuku's whisper yells. What is going on? Mina hops up in the air and holds up a laptop. Well, since you were going to miss movie night, we decided to bring the movie to you. Izuku blinks.
How did you all get in here? It's way past visiting hours. Mr. Aizawa helped sneak us in, Uraraka exclaims as quietly as possible. Really? Izuku asks, already feeling the tears burn in his eyes. You did that, Mr. Aizawa? The teacher doesn't even respond, plopping himself into a chair and passing out immediately, which is understandable. Izuku sniffles. Thank you guys for coming. You really didn't have to. We know, but we wanted to. Izuku replies plainly, as if it's obvious. Yeah, man, we were worried about you. We wanted to see you, Kirishima adds on. The next time you get hit by a car, please tell us, Sue says from behind him. It seems like all of this sentimentally is pushing Kachan's buttons. Are we going to watch this damn movie, or are we going to waste more time? Right, of course. Let's set this up so we can all get to bed in a timely manner, Ida commands, chopping his hand. Not much later, everyone has found a comfortable spot, with the help of Yayarozu making some beanbags. And once everyone was settled in, and the movie begins to play, Izuku can't help the goofy smile that takes over his face. With all of his friends here, a warmth settles in his chest. For the first time that day, everything feels like it might turn out okay. Kimura is making her final rounds for the night when she approaches the room of her last patient. It's getting close to midnight, so she fully expects the kid to be out cold. She double-checks her chart to make sure there isn't anything special she needs to do. It opens the door. What she is not prepared for is to find about 20 other people in the room, all asleep on beanbags. To be frank, she's at a complete loss. How is she supposed to handle this? Is she supposed to kick them all out? That would be the most sensible option. But as she looks at all the sleeping children, and is that a giant caterpillar? The only thing she wants to do is join them in the land of dreams in her own bed. Plus, waking up all of those kids and calling all of their guardians would be so much work. She is already finishing a 12-hour shift. The last thing she wants is more work. So without much more deliberation, Kimura decides that she does not get paid enough to deal with this and heads home, where her comfy bed is waiting for her. So folks, that was the reading of Hit and Run. It is one of my favorite fan fictions. I have a lot of favorites, but this is one of my favorite ones. I like that it's short, but not too short. It's like, it's satisfying. Like, you know, anywho, I'm not going to blabber on, but I highly recommend that you go and check out the author of this. The link is down in the description to check out their fanfiction and more of their works. Also, if you want to get updated on me reading more fanfictions, just hit that subscribe button and you will get notified every time I upload. And if you have any special fanfictions that you want me to read, you can leave the link in the comment section below and I will get in contact with the author. And once I get their approval, I will read it. Anywho, have a wonderful day, y'all, and see you later. Bye!